Hey guys, it's me Seren back with another video. This video is going to be a PSA, as you guys can tell from the title. PSA, no one died for this. So we've been witnessing a huge wave of student activism and student uprising ever since the success of the protest at Mizzou, which you guys saw that I made a video about. Many campuses have stood in solidarity with Mizzou and have also gone on to make their own lists of demands for change. And we've really just seen over the last week to 2 weeks, this just huge swell of student activism. Yale, Princeton, Howard, check in the description box, there's going to be tons of links. But, there have been literally dozens and dozens of schools where people are, they're protesting. They're saying, on our campus, we also have issues with racism and institutionalized racism because that's really a huge problem in higher education. There have been all types of trending topics on Twitter about Black on campus and all kinds of different interesting things going on. So, of course, this has elicited a lot of conversation about race and higher education. And one of the most common statements that I'm seeing flung around is that Black people died for this. Black people died for me to attend school. Black people died for me to attend school wherever I want. Black people died so that I could attend school with white people, and Black people died for this, and Black people died for this. And I typically see this argument being used whenever Black people are discussing alternatives to college or to predominantly white institutions. So when people are discussing possibly going to HBCUs or to trade schools, 9 times out of 10 you have somebody that has to come swoop in with the Black people died for this. And I just feel like, PSA, nobody died for what the fuck you're talking about, right? It's a crazy thing to say to me because it's some people don't necessarily want to protest in a place where they feel unwanted. Some people want to get out while the getting is good and discuss other routes. And they're just met with this really intense pushback of, but Black people died for you to go to college. This is a silencing tactic. I also mentioned it in my homeschool video because a lot of people, when they elect to pull their Black children out of the public school system or the private school system and homeschool, they get this same exact response from other Black people. But people died for you to send your kids to school, And it's just no one died for this. When you try to look for alternatives to a school system that isn't working and you're basically shamed by other Black people for trying to find alternatives, I have an issue with that. It's no one died for you to be spat on. No one died for you to face fucking terrorist death threats, which we also saw, in the face of this wave of student protests. You saw death threats, death threats on social media. You saw people saying, they're going to shoot up the school, they're going to shoot up the campus. White boys, of course, crazy ass. White male rage, got a video on that. But it's no one died for that. No one died for you to wake up to fucking poop swastikas, and feces smeared on the walls of a dorm bathroom, No one died for you to be around white people to your own detriment. No one died for that. And it really grinds my gears when people say that because it's this willful misunderstanding of what people did actually die for. You get what I'm saying? People died for an idea, for a dream. People died for an idea of integration that really still has not come to fruition. You guys know how I feel about that. People died for ideas about equality. People died for ideas that we are still fighting for today. None of that shit has really been realized. So for you to act like we've moved past all that and, you're somehow letting them down because, and that Black people are somehow letting them down because they don't want to put up with bullshit really fucking bugs me. It really fucking bugs me. And we were talking about it on Twitter. And this girl named Rosie Shepherdess, who I follow, who's so brilliant. Everyone, please go follow her. She actually said some really cool stuff that I'm actually going to read to you. Hold on. Let me see if I can get it to open. So she said, there we go. We have to distinguish between the goals and hopes of the past and the violent, present. We have to make people understand that they are not condemned to suffer inhuman treatment, and misrepresenting the true goals of the struggle only increases current disdain for our past and our history, which is dangerous. And I was just like, yes, like that is exactly the thing. That's exactly the thing. People died for ideas. They died for dreams. They died for hopes. But no one died for you to be around white people, again, to your own detriment. And there's just something so disrespectful about using those deaths, black death, black struggle, as some type of tool to shame people that want black liberation the same as you, but just in a different way. You know, like I said in my Mizzou video, everybody has to play their position. Like I said in my What is Pro-Black video, there's no one right way. Of course, people gonna have different ideas and everybody gonna feel like their way is the right way. But you know me, I'm more along the lines of we're all, you know, different working, functioning parts in the struggle for black liberation. So maybe some people protest on campus, and maybe some people invest in HBCUs, and maybe some people champion trade schools, you know, so that black kids in the future have options for whatever they feel is right for them. Right? And I feel like people are really losing sight of that, and they're shaming other people that don't agree with what they want to do with this finger wagging, but black people died for this. It's like, that's a shitty thing to say. That's such a shitty thing to say to me, you know? Because like a lot of people saying, you know, maybe we should consider putting more of our time and energy and resources into HBCUs. A lot of those people have a point, you know? Like, institutionalized racism is a bigger deal on predominantly white institutions than it is on HBCUs. You know, it is, because it's just a different environment. There will always be more racial tension on a majority white campus than on a majority black campus. That's not to say that HBCUs don't have their own set of problems, because they do. The elitism that can spin out of black higher institutions, which I touched on in my Rachel Dolezal videos, you know, they have huge issues with lack of accreditation. They have huge issues with lack of funding, which is something that we really need to start investing in. HBCUs are also not exempt from terrorist threats just because they're HBCUs. Howard, as one of the, you know, premier HBCUs in the United States, they got a terrorist threat. So that's not to say that going to an HBCU is perfect, but people that say that there is less institutionalized racial tension at an HBCU than at a PWI do have a point. They have a point. And you guys know that I have conflicting feelings about college in general, even though I did go to college and I do have a degree, and I do feel like college is a great place to learn and grow and develop your critical thinking skills and have fun and meet people. But I personally don't know if I feel like that's worth $100,000 and no guarantee of a job, which is why I encourage people, if you don't know exactly what you want to do, to go to a trade school, to learn a skill, to get a job, to work, to get some money before you go to college. You know, it's like we're all entitled to have different ideas about what is the right thing to do to tackle institutionalized racism in higher learning, you know? And it's like, it's fucked up to wag your finger at people and say, people died for this. It's offensive, you know? Like I said, it's a shitty thing to say. It's a passive-aggressive guilt tactic to silence people with very real concerns. And it's fucking false, because no one died for this. PSA, no one died for this, you know? For anyone that feels like college is the appropriate choice for them, of course they deserve to feel safe on campus, be it an HBCU or a PWI, but this idea that it's unthinkable to consider not going to an HBCU, this idea that it's unthinkable to consider going to an HBCU or not going to college at all because people died for this, again, it's a silencing tactic. It's a silencing tactic. And, you know, it really bugs me when I see people say this, and this is something that I see flung around a lot, and that I've seen flung around a lot in a lot of the dialogue that people have been having about being black on campus. So I just wanted to make this quick video. PSA, nobody died for this. It's a shitty thing to say. Stop saying it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Check out the description box for links on the student activism that's going on right now. Food for thought as always. See you guys next time. Peace. Oh, and one more thing. I will not be making a video about Paris. I feel like the Paris situation is pretty cut and dry. Like, I just feel like there's really nothing to talk about. The only thing that I want to say about that whole situation is that you see a lot of people that are saying like, oh, this is what real terrorism looks like. In an attempt to kind of shame Black Lives Matter protesters and to shame student activists, which obviously I talked about in this video, and as a way to kind of shame Black people in this country into saying like, you know, what we experience at the hands of domestic white terrorists is not real terrorism. And it is. You know, terrorism is terrorism is terrorism is terrorism is terrorism. It's really fucked up to play these oppression Olympics ass games of, you see, you should just be happy, you know, that you're not, you know, getting bombed in movie theaters, you know, oh, despite the fact that you're getting shot up in churches and shot on the streets like dogs and, you know, getting terrorized in your own campuses. That's not real terror. This is real terror. You know, that's a super fucked up thing to say. And anyone that says that is a piece of shit. And that's just really all I have to say about that. Domestic terrorism is a larger threat than international terrorism. The FBI actually recently created a new group, a new position of, I can't think of the word, of people, of members actually meant to fight domestic terrorism and homegrown terrorists, because more people have been killed by domestic terrorists, you know, homegrown terrorists, nationalists, anarchists, white nationalists, racists, white supremacists. More people have been killed by homegrown terrorists than by international terrorist groups like ISIS. So, you know, people want to talk about, oh, let's talk about Muslim culture, or let's talk about Black culture. But, you know, just like I said in my On White Male Rage video, no one wants to talk about what's wrong with white culture and the fact that, you know, white males are the largest terrorist threat in the United States. So that's really all I have to say about Paris. This is a 2-minute clip, so I'm just going to tack this on to the end of my PSA. But yeah, that's just how I feel about that as well. So, I guess I'll include links in the description box on the creation of the group to fight homegrown terrorism as well. So yeah, see you guys next time. Peace.